Welcome back, dear viewers, and many thanks for keeping 8 the morning dew show. I'm Wairimu Mugo. Previously, we were talking to Jennifer Roth about CBC, and right about now, it's all about education, and we are talking about vocational training. And in studio, I have Mother Jerry, who is the manager at Gaitega Vocational Training Center and acting sub-county youth training officer, that is Mathioya and Kangema sub-counties. Welcome to the show, Martha.
Thank you.
Karibu sana. So
Asante.
I just said a brief of who you are. However, we'd love to know exactly who are you? Who is Martha?
Martha is Martha Njeri. I'm the manager at Gaitega Vocational Training Center and currently acting the sub-county youth training officer, Mathioya and Kangema County. Yes.
So when we talk about vocational training, what exactly are we talking about?
When we talk of vocational training, we are talking about the young people being trained or being imparted with the skills, the technical skills, hands-on skills. Yeah, basically that is what we are talking about when we talk of vocational training center. Because actually what we usually do is, 90% practical work. So when you're training, for example, a plumber, it is that act of connecting those pipes, doing everything about that, those pipes, the toilets and all that, basically in practical way. 90%. Yes.
So why is it important for me as a parent to take my child to a vocational training?
Nowadays, people are talking about lack of employment, and it's a big challenge in our country, Kenya. And when you take your child to vocational training center, that person becomes self-reliant. That person can be able to employ himself or herself. Because when we talk, for example, just like I had mentioned about a plumber, you see plumbers, you cannot employ a plumber on monthly basis. That person is somebody who is called this place, next place. So that person becomes a self-reliant. He doesn't have to wait to be employed by somebody. And that is why it's important to give these young people these skills, because they will not only rely on employment, they can rely on self-employment. And at the same time, they can also be employers. This is why we are encouraging parents not to just think about those commercial courses. Yes.
A long time ago, when I was growing up, there was a perception that actually they used to call them the village technicals. They were perceived as training centers that are being taken, those people who have maybe failed in their grades. What has changed?
Nothing has changed so much, but it's only that people think that we have failures in life. But actually we don't have failures in life. What we have different abilities. We have different abilities. There are those people who are very good academically. There are those people who are good in technical skills. And that is why we say we don't have failures. It's only that people have put that in mind. Those people who failed, maybe they got a D, they got E's, they go to those village polytechnics. Now the ones we are calling vocational training centers. But actually, that does not mean the person is a failure. The thing here is that person has different ability. And the person who passed the exams have another different ability. Yes. In fact, we don't have failures in life. Yes. Failure comes from the mind. If you think you are a failure, you become a failure. If you think you are successful, you become successful. So failure depends with how you take yourself. Yes.
So in your view, is the current education system, that is CBC, an early preparation to maybe children to join the vocational training?
Yeah, it will help a lot. Because if you look at maybe a country like China, China is a country that has gone very far. Why? Because they embraced the skills, the technical skills. And with the current CBC, the way I understand it, it is preparing the child from the early age to know who he or she is or who he can be in the future. Because a child, if does not make it in academic, he can make it good in something that is being done with hands. Yeah.
You mentioned about plumbing as a course done in the vocational training. What are some of the other courses that you train?
We have plumbing, we have fashion and design, we have mechanical, motor vehicle mechanic, we have hairdressing and beauty therapy, we have masonry. Then masonry is about building with the stones. We have carpentry and joinery. We have refrigeration. Refrigeration is about repairing refrigerators and all those appliances that are in that field. We have food processing, because this one also depends with the vocational training center. We have different vocational training centers. We have electrical installation. We have electronics. There are so many courses in the technical field. Yeah.
So as a parent, how do I determine which course that is my child going to take?
Mostly we don't entertain that issue of parent deciding for the child. We encourage the child, him or herself, to decide what he feels is best. He can do it best. Because in technical skills, somehow they go as talents. You can also call them, they are somehow also related with the talents. Because if somebody is talented in maybe, if you remember when we were young people, when we were playing, there are those girls who are very good in braiding the glass.
Yeah.
That person definitely will tell you that person can be a good hairdresser. If you see a child who corrects every time he wants to correct these metals and trying to make something, that person tells you that person can make a good mechanic. So it depends with the child should decide, because these things should come from, we call it intrinsic forces. We don't encourage the extrinsic forces. We encourage intrinsic forces, because if you force that child to do something that he does not want or she does not want, she will not do it at her best or his best.
I'm looking at a child who is a product of 844 system, like myself, and this person before did get the exposure maybe to have themselves hands-on on the different talents they have, like what's happening on the CBC. And I'm wondering now, me as a child, how do I really tell this is my talent?
Actually, when these children are growing, in human development, each person, when that person is growing, there is something that they look at and decide, I would like to be like this person. Even before, even when we were growing, we knew what you can do best. Actually, a class 8 child, I have seen several of them deciding for themselves, I want this course. And they do it. And they excel a lot in life. I've seen a young man, a good example. I've seen a young man who decided, I'm going to do welding. Today he's earning 3,000 per day. Whereby you can even get a degree person who is not earning that much.
Sure.
So it depends with the kind of upbringing and the desires of the child. They are able to decide for themselves.
At the vocational training centers, is there a place where maybe as a child or as a parent I can come and get advice on what is the best maybe course I should take, or what is more marketable than the other?
Yeah, we have. If you visit those vocational training centers, we have those center managers. They are good in advising. They can give you advice on what course the child can take. And actually, I encourage parents to go with that child, so that you can be able now to discuss with the child what that child can take. Because when you talk one-on-one with the child, you are able to advise. Yes, we do advise them.
All right.
We call it career guidance. Yes.
I'm looking myself as a parent with a child with special needs. Does my kid fit in the vocational training center?
Yes. Yes. Right now, a good example, in Gaitega, we are collaborating with the special education team. They always visit our institution every now and then to see how we are doing with those special children. We call it SNE, special education. And they fit depending with the disability. Yes.
Wow.
Yes, depending with the disability. Or the only challenge, they take longer time now to catch up with the rest. But we are always patient with them. Yes.
And when you talk about time, what is maybe the shortest course I could take in a vocational training? Because mainly there are people who are like, I don't want to go to college for 2 years, so I'm hopping into a vocational training center to have a career pathway. Yeah, how long does it take maybe for a short course?
Short courses, it depends with the course itself.
Okay.
Because you cannot say you are going to do plumbing with 3 months. And then you say you are an expert. That one is not possible because there are so many units in plumbing course or in electrical course. But there are some courses whereby you can do even with 3 months. At least 3 months. You can get a course that you can do with 3 months and you excel. For example, you can do beauty. Beauty in 3 months, you are done. And you can be able to do something. Unless maybe now you want to do exams, the national examinations, whereby in vocational training centers, we give NITA examinations, National Industrial Training Authority examinations. That's an examining body. We also have NEC in some institutions. But for NEC, somehow it's a bit longer than the NITA ones. Although even NEC, it also depends with the level that you are going to do the exam. Because we have the lowest level, the middle level, and then the highest level. Yeah.
And when we talk about exams, I know parents who just take there are those training centers in around us, maybe the salons or even the market, the mechanic centers, where I just take my kid there to be trained maybe by a friend. Can I then come to the vocational training for a certificate?
We don't encourage that one, but that person can come, be trained maybe for some time, so that person can be able to handle the exam. Because you see, in Juakari, they do it Juakari way.
Yes.
And the Juakari way is definitely the shortcuts.
Yes.
But when you go to an institution, there is no shortcut. So for those ones, we encourage them. If you have done maybe, for example, hairdressing, you have done mechanic in the Juakari, come to the institution for some time, maybe 2-3 months, and then we can show you you come out from that cocoon of shortcuts, and you do it the right way. Wow. And you do the exam and you get a certificate. Yes.
Just hold on to that thought. Thank you so much for for tuning into the show. This is the Morning Dew Show with me, Wairimu Mugo. We are taking a short commercial break. Don't go too far. We are coming back. Remember, today